Chapter 5:13. 625 I heard. Hearing this, everyone was silent for a while before someone asked unwillingly, "Then what's the highest score in our class?" The top student who had just given out the papers pushed up his glasses. Looking at the results now, it seems to be Chu Zhixing. 590 points. Hearing this, everyone was still silent. They did not expect the gap to be so big. A difference of 30 to 40 points. But the second place, Qin Youjiao, only scored 600 points. "It's not bad to be first in our class," another person comforted. "But other than Chu Zhixing, the scores of our class." Someone wanted to say something but stopped. Indeed. For some reason, Chu Zhixing's scores had been rising like a rocket recently. Suddenly, Teacher Wen stood at the door sternly and knocked. "Where is she? Where did Bei Yunj go?" Hearing this, everyone turned to look at Lu Yuanxi instinctively. Seeing that Lu Yuanxi was asleep, no one dared to disturb him. Teacher Wen couldn't take it anymore and walked forward to wake him up. "Where did your desk mate go to fool around again? Can I control her?" Lu Yuanxi was still asleep and said impatiently with a hoarse voice. Teacher Wen's expression darkened even more. "Lu Yuanxi, get up." Lu Yuanxi was speechless. "I don't think she came to school." Teacher Wen took a deep breath. Bei Yunj had really given him a sweet date and slapped him. "She didn't come to school?" Teacher Wen gave a fake smile. "Let me ask." Lu Yuanxi called Bei Yunj and turned on the speaker. "Where are you?" "I'm at the hospital. I'll go back later." With that said, Bei Yunj hung up. Lu Yuanxi narrowed his eyes. According to his experience of students skipping class to go to the hospital, he said, "Did she get her junior pregnant?" He immediately dismissed this thought. "Oh no, she can't." Teacher Wen was speechless. "Okay, I got it." With that said, Teacher Wen placed Bei Yunj's paper on the table and said to Lu Yuanxi, "You did well for the foreign language exam this time. 147 points, second in the level." When Lu Yuanxi heard this, he could finally hold his head up high. Last time, she had failed the foreign language exam and had been laughed at by Bei Yunj for a long time. After all, he had grown up in country R. Hee. However, now it was his turn to laugh at Bei Yunj. "Then who's first?" Lu Yuanxi asked casually. "Your deskmate." With that, Teacher Wen left. Lu Yuanxi stiffened. F***ck, are you serious? Master Pei got first place in foreign languages? Everyone was shocked. Ling Jiwei's expression changed as a bad premonition arose in her heart. "Brother Lu, quickly look at your deskmate's test paper." The others did not dare to look through Bei Yunj's things. Lu Yuanxi did not mind being beaten up a few times. He immediately picked up Bei Yunj's test paper and flipped through it. Language. When Lu Yuanxi's gaze landed on the test paper, he couldn't help but be stunned. "Brother Lu, can you not keep me in suspense?" Lu Yuanxi took a deep breath. His hands felt weak. Literature 148. Everyone, what the hell? Were they hallucinating? At this moment, Lu Yuanxi was still flipping through the papers for other subjects. Physics, 110. Chemistry, 100. Biology, 90. Everyone, wait a minute, how much was the total? They were really hallucinating. It must be a hallucination. Wait a minute, Master Pei's score is 598. She's third in the level. Chapter 5:14. Someone immediately said excitedly, "There's another paper, Brother Lu. Mathematics, let's look at mathematics." "Let me look at mathematics." Lu Yuanxi continued to flip through the papers. When he found the marks, he fell silent. A moment later, 0 points. She missed the first paper. Everyone was speechless. It was too surreal. She missed the mathematics paper and came in third place. The mathematics paper was worth 150 points. If she chose C for all the multiple choice questions, she could get first place in the level. She copied it. She must have copied it. Many people in the class started to defend Bei Yunj, probably because they were familiar with Bei Yunj's temper. "That's enough. Ling Jiwei, did you borrow her to copy it?" Ling Jiwei looked embarrassed. "That's right. We have a top student in our class. Isn't she bringing glory to our class?" The class teacher and principal didn't say anything, but someone can't stand it. That's right. Someone goes to class 1 every day. Why didn't she transfer to class 1? Class 7 isn't good enough for you. You. Ling Jiwei looked embarrassed. She slammed the table and stood up. Then she glared at them with red eyes and ran out. After Ling Jiwei left, many people started to ask about Bei Yunji's situation. Brother Lu, what's wrong with Master Pei? Aren't these results too sudden? Lu Yuanxi was silent for a moment. Do you remember that she was the only one who got the questions right in the last mathematics paper? Hearing this, everyone fell silent. So she had always been a top student? Then why did she do so well in the monthly paper? Could it be that she wanted the Qin family to donate a building to Hengda? F***CK, now that you mention it, if Master Pei were to take the math exam, wasn't their class the top student in the level? 117. Everyone was in disbelief. They didn't expect Class 7 to have a top student in the level. Class 1. Or was it because of discipline? Because when the results came out, although everyone felt that it was bad, there were also those in Class 7 who were worse. What are you doing? The vice principal walked in and reprimanded them. Class 1 didn't know how to react. This was usually the treatment given to Class 7. When had the vice principal ever reprimanded them? Why aren't you studying? They're not as good as Class 7. The vice principal pursed his lips, feeling very complicated. Principal Wang, the first and second place are from our class. Did they not do well? Someone was indignant. Even if their results were good and they wanted to suppress them, there was no need to say that. What kind of standard did the 7th class have? How dare they compete with them? The first and second place are from your class. Bei Yunji next door didn't even take the math exam, but she still managed to get 3rd place. Don't you guys have any sense of crisis? As soon as he finished speaking, the expressions of many people in Class 1 changed. Not only Qin Youjiao, even Lei Ye, who was in the top 10 of the cohort, looked up at the vice principal instinctively. How is this possible? How is this possible? It's impossible for the test paper to be leaked, and it's impossible for anyone to cheat. I hope you can reflect on why others are progressing so quickly. After saying that, the vice principal slammed the grade report card on the podium and left. Class 1 was a class that he had painstakingly taught, but in the end, they couldn't even compare to Class 7. How could he not be angry? Soon, many people in Class 1 gathered around to watch. However, when they saw Bei Yunji's results, their expressions changed. Chapter 5:15. Was this a matter of whether she improved fast or not? How is this possible? How can Bei Yunji get full marks for science? Someone could not help questioning. Hearing this, Qin Youjiao clenched her fists instinctively. She had flipped through Qing Ziwai's paper just now and more than 10 marks had been deducted from his science paper. How could Bei Yunji get full marks? Qin Youjiao's eyes were filled with darkness. Impossible. How could Bei Yunji have such standards? It seems like you underestimated your opponent too much, Lei Ye said calmly. Qin Youjiao was silent for a long time before she calmed herself down. She said, "No, I won't lose." As long as she worked hard to get a spot in the International Musicians Association, it would be useless even if Bei Yunji got first. Compared to the value of the International Musicians Association, this was not worth mentioning at all. Taking a deep breath, Qin Youjiao lowered her head and continued to solve the last few questions. After she was done with these questions, she would continue practicing the piano. She would definitely get a spot in the International Musicians Association and become an official member. When that time came, Bei Yunji would only be worthy of looking up to her. In the hospital, Bei Yunji had just changed the water for the vase. Did you not sleep yesterday? Director Lin saw Bei Yunji holding a laptop early in the morning. I slept for a while. Bei Yunji placed the breakfast on the folding table that came with the bed. The hospital was in the city center and there was a lot of traffic outside the window. It was very noisy. Bei Yunji could not sleep in this environment, so she decided to improve the project overnight. Director Lin's heart ached for Bei Yunji. Bei Yunji probably came late last night, so Director Lin did not know that Bei Yunji was guarding her here. It was only when she woke up early in the morning that she found Bei Yunj sitting by the window. Go home and sleep for a while first. Apply for leave from school. How can you not sleep for the entire night? Okay, I'll leave after you finish your porridge. Hearing Bei Yunj say this, Director Lin had no choice but to eat the porridge first. After eating the porridge, Director Lin looked at Bei Yunj, her meaning obvious. Bei Yunj stood up and laughed leisurely. Okay, I'll go back first. Old people nowadays are quite cruel. Director Lin. Bring the umbrella over there, the sun is too strong. Bei Yunj hummed in response and opened the door with a small flower umbrella and notebook in her arms. She didn't expect to see the man waiting at the door in the corridor. His eyebrows were handsome and noble, and his pale-colored pupils were abstinent. He was leaning lazily against the wall, and no one knew when he had arrived. After Bei Yunj opened the door, Huashidu turned around and their eyes met. He stuffed the silver lighter in his hand into his pocket. Yun is out. When did you get here? 2 hours ago. Huashidu's thin red lips curled up. But I didn't bring a gift, so I can't go in. Grandma won't mind either. Bei Yunj closed the door quietly. She likes you very much. Really? Huashidu's thin lips curled up happily. He walked closer to Bei Yunj and took the notebook from her hand very naturally. Wait for me to say a few bad things, then she won't like you so much. Bei Yunj said lazily with a smile. The man laughed casually. I like our Yunyun's ingrate too. Bei Yunj looked at him. Brother, are you here to take me to school? I'm bringing you home. Chapter 5:16. You're not going to school? Bei Yunj was quite surprised. She thought that even if she had a high fever, Huashidu would still throw her to school. Auntie Miao has prepared some food for you. You can sleep after eating. Auntie Miao will come to see Director Lin later. Hearing that Huashidu's arrangement was very reasonable, Bei Yunj stopped in her tracks and subconsciously moved her eyebrows. Where are we going? The corners of Huashidu's lips curled up lazily and lightly. He pinched the back of her neck affectionately. Back to brother's house. Bei Yunj heard him say again, the old residence is far from here. It's closer to my place. Bei Yunj did not hesitate and did not sense anything wrong. Back at the Hua family home. Miss, you're finally back. Auntie Miao welcomed Bei Yunj with a smile the moment she saw her. Bei Yunj felt that something was not right. Auntie Miao, you knew that I was back? Yes, didn't Sir accompany you back to stay for a few days? Auntie Miao asked with a smile. This statement almost made Bei Yunj think that she was returning home with Huashidu. Bei Yunj glanced at Huashidu but did not say anything. The man was as calm and composed as ever, as if nothing had happened. Let's eat first, Huashidu said. Okay. Auntie Miao had already figured out Bei Yunj's taste long ago. As a result, when Bei Yunj came back and ate Auntie Miao's cooking, she actually felt an inexplicable attachment. However, after eating and going upstairs, Bei Yunj realized that something was wrong. Brother, my bedroom is over there. Bei Yunj stood at the door and did not go in. When Huashidu heard this, he chuckled nonchalantly and looked at her casually. He chuckled softly. If you don't sleep at my place, can Yun sleep? Bei Yunj, or does Yun mind? Huashidu suddenly leaned closer. His laughter was low and hoarse, as if he was deliberately teasing her eardrums. His eyes were so dark that it was hard to tell. Bei Yunj subconsciously took a step back. No. Seeing the smile in Huashidu's eyes, it was obvious that he was teasing her. Bei Yunj smiled. I'll leave after I wake up. This child is quite heartless. Huashidu's sexy Adam's apple bobbed as he chuckled softly. Seeing that Bei Yunj's eyes were red, Huashidu stopped teasing her. He watched her walk to the bed before gently closing the door. At the door, Seng Su said softly, Master Du, do you want to rest for a while? This morning, you've been looking for Miss for a long time. Let's go to the company first. Huashidu's slender and bony hand loosened his tie impatiently. He was typing a text message to inform old Master Qin that he was safe. Unexpectedly, a notification popped up in his personal account. Shidu clicked on it and saw that Qin Yu had pulled him into the group chat. Bei Yun's parents. There were already 4 members inside, and he was the 5th. Soon, a group member sent a message. Teacher Wen. Congratulations, student Bei Yun. You are 3rd in the level for the monthly exam and scored full marks in science. Rose. Teacher Wen. Picture. The picture was the report card that Teacher Wen had taken. And this content caused an uproar in the group. Qin Lang? My ge? Qin Yu, this is my sister? Dumbfounded. Jade Yi, Qin Luyen, not bad. After a few minutes of silence, the group chat was flooded again. The 3 members of the Qin family were giving out red packets in the group chat as if money was not money. However, Teacher Wen did not dare to accept any of them, afraid that others would say that he had accepted bribes. Chapter 517. Shidu did not say anything either. He only touched it lightly with his slender fingers and saved the report card. A few minutes later, everyone saw Master Du, who had never posted on his WeChat moments, suddenly update his status. Du, the little kid is alright. Picture. Not long after, the downstairs was filled with likes from his WeChat moments. Yu Hanren. Damn, this ancestor scored full marks in science? She missed an exam and got 3rd place. I thought our Master Pei was a bad student. Yu Manran, come out and get scolded. Yu Manran replied to Yu Hanran, Yu Manran, boo-hoo, Master Pei is amazing. Qin Yu, brother? What are you doing? Qin Yu, who was backstage, saw Shidu's post and felt that Shidu was too immersed. This was Shidu's first time posting on WeChat moments. It was even rarer than his brother posting on WeChat moments. Qin Yu, who did not get a reply, put his phone back into his pocket. However, he wanted to find someone to share his intense joy with. After the recording, the female host habitually skipped the questions that Qin Yu disdained to answer. However, Qin Yu suddenly asked, "Why didn't you ask your usual questions?" Hearing this, the fans present were extremely excited. Brother Yu had actually taken the initiative to accept a personal interview. Okay, then I'll start asking. The female host took a deep breath and revealed a professional smile. Here, the public is also very curious about your personal life, Best Actor Qin. Let me ask Best Actor Qin for everyone first. What kind of girls do you usually admire? The good-looking ones who can score full marks in science. Qin Yu's arrogant eyes were handsome, and when he smiled, a large group of women were attracted to him. However, these words were like a bucket of ice water that woke up all the fans. The fans were speechless. Do you know what you're talking about? This made the fans even sadder than Qin Yu saying that he was going to become a monk. The female host's expression stiffened slightly and she immediately changed the topic to his career. Then let's move on to the next question. What do you think is the reason for your career's success? My greatest success might not be my career, but having an outstanding sister in all aspects. Qin Yu leaned against the sofa lazily, smiling amiably. The manager below the stage. Alright, another crazy one. A male artist who was obsessed with his sister was as dangerous as a public figure who drank fake alcohol for an interview. Hence, that day, the topic of the opposite sex that Qin Yu admired the most was trending. On the other hand, Qin Yu's fans started to doubt their lives as they started to browse through the science questions. Until the afternoon, Bei Yun received a call from Marcus. Yun, something happened to your brother's company. Hearing Marcus' anxious voice, Bei Yun unconsciously rubbed her eyebrows. What? Your brother called me and said that the Qin group is in some trouble. 2 days ago, the security system was only attacked by hackers. The funds have been transferred today. Marcus was so anxious that his speech speed became faster. Transfer of funds? Bei Yun was silent for a moment before she replied, Okay, I got it. Alright, Marcus, what was the name you gave me last time? He was afraid that Bei Yun's career in the scientific research field would be affected because of the Qin Corporation. Marcus terminated the contract with the outside world and let Bei Yun sign a contract with the Qin group with a new identity. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes. Chapter 518. Including the incident with the criminal gang last time, Marcus had also removed the name. Marcus was speechless. He knew that Bei Yunj did not care much about her matters, but he did not expect her to be so careless. Max, Marcus said helplessly, do you want to take a look? I'll go to the Qin family to take a look first. Bei Yunj changed her clothes and went out. She called Qin Luyan. A few minutes later, Qin Luyan's voice was filled with surprise and joy. Gua? What's wrong? Are you looking for me? Bei Yunj narrowed her pretty eyes and glanced at the traffic around her calmly. Her tone was calm. Can I come to the Qin family? Sure, I'll get someone to pick you up. Qin Luyan was a little surprised. No need. Just send me your location. After hanging up the call, the people from the technical department furrowed their eyebrows. President Qin, did something happen? Nothing. My sister is coming to the company. Hearing Qin Luyan's words, no one dared to speak. However, their impression of Bei Yunj could not help but drop. It was fine if a rich young lady did not know how to solve the company's problems. At such a critical moment, she still came to the company to play? Someone really thinks that the company isn't troublesome enough. An employee from the technical department could not help but mock. Mind your own business and don't let me hear any gossip. Otherwise, leave the Qin family as soon as possible. Qin Luyan's tone was cold. Everyone knew that President Qin seemed to dote on the new elder young miss a lot, but they did not expect it to be to this extent. The employees who were reprimanded also blushed. They were unwilling to accept it and did not say anything. Qi Lin, go and pick her up. Gu will be coming over later. Qi Lin was the closest person to Qin Luyan and would not go against his wishes. Yes. About half an hour later, everyone saw the rumored real young lady of the Qin family. Her appearance was even more stunning than Qin Youjiao's back then. She was excessively beautiful. Her eyes were wild and bright, but there was indifference in them. Miss, President Qin is still dealing with some matters. He asked me to take you to his office to rest, Qi Lin said gently. Has Qin Luyan not been home for a few days? Bei Yunj suddenly asked. She had not seen Qin Luyan for a few days, but she did not know that something had happened to the company. There was no news at home either. It's been 3 or 4 days. Miss, please. Qi Lin smiled, but he was not close to Bei Yunj. I want to see him now. Bei Yunj said lightly. When Qi Lin heard this, he unconsciously frowned. He thought that Bei Yunj was a smart person and knew that she should not disturb Qin Luyan at this time. However, he did not expect her to have the temper of a spoiled young lady. Miss, you'll be a burden to President Qin if you go, Qi Lin said gently. He didn't hide the reason why he didn't want to bring Bei Yunj along. Bei Yunj looked up at him with a faint smile. I came here because I wanted to see him. In fact, Bei Yunj could tell that Qi Lin did not like her. Usually, everyone in the old mansion called her elder young miss, but Qi Lin did not treat her as his young Mississippi. If you don't take me there, I'll get him to come down. With that said, Bei Yunj was about to call Qin Luyan. I'll take you there. Qi Lin smiled, but the veins on the back of his hand were bulging. It was his first time being angered by such an unreasonable rich young lady. Haven't you found the loophole? Chapter 519. Qin Luyan's voice was emotionless as he looked at the technicians calmly trying to solve the problem. Bei Yunj entered and saw the bouquet of black roses on the table. Boss Qin misses here? Qi Lin reminded him. Hearing this, Qin Luyan turned around. He did not expect Bei Yunj to come here. Bei Yunj scanned her surroundings, casually picked up the black roses, threw them into the rubbish bin beside her, and sat at the side. Can I play here for a while? Everyone's eyelids twitched when they saw that Bei Yunj threw the black roses away without even asking Qin Luyan. However, what they did not expect was that Qin Luyan did not care about Bei Yunj's actions at all. His low voice was even gentle. Sure. The staff of the technical department could not help but frown. What was going on with this spoiled lady who did not know anything staying with them? However, at this moment, Bei Yunj did not care about the people around her. She just turned on her laptop and lazily played maps of the gods. The technical department was talking. There must be more than one hacker who attacked us this time. I suspect that it was premeditated. Then should we find someone to help us solve it? Didn't Boss Qin sign a max? Hearing this, the technician who was repairing the loophole sneered. My master is an official member of the Chaosists. He has never heard of the name Max. The Chaosists were a hacker organization in our nation. It was currently the most powerful hacker organization in the world. But this is someone introduced by Marcus. He can't be bad. Someone retorted softly. He won't be bad, but he won't be much better either. That person's tone was arrogant. Then can you get your master to help? Qilin asked. My master's price for taking on an order is not cheap. And he won't take on orders easily. Qin Luyan said calmly, contact him. He can name the price. With that said, Qin Luyan looked at Bei Yunj. Seeing that she was playing Maps of the Gods, he did not disturb her. Which book website after about 10 minutes? The arrogant technician became excited. My master has accepted the order. He said he's willing to help us. He added, I'll send him the information now. Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there was still hope. However, after waiting for 20 minutes, Qilin received another call. His expression changed. President Qin, our company's website has also been attacked. It's completely paralyzed. As soon as he finished speaking, the technician, who was originally arrogant, was now inexplicably nervous. He immediately contacted his master. And at this moment, everyone glanced over and saw that Bei Yunj was playing the game. Their expressions immediately turned ugly. Miss Qin is still in a good mood at this time, the arrogant technician couldn't help but say gloomily. Who knew? Bei Yunj replied lazily, my surname is Pei. Zhang Yang. Qilin frowned and immediately warned him. Qin Luyan was still here, and he dared to insult Bei Yunj like this? As expected. At this moment, Qin Luyan glanced at Zhang Yang coldly. If not for Qilin's reprimand just now, Zhang Yang would have been in trouble. This time, it wasn't done by one person, another technician said. Obviously, they had been besieged by the hacker organization. Suddenly, Bei Yunj said slowly, have you guys eaten? Why don't you go have a meal? It's useless to sit here. Chapter 520. Everyone was speechless. Zhang Yang could not help but sneer. Are you mocking us? Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. No one noticed that her fingers were typing a command. They only heard her say slowly, please continue. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Yang wanted to continue but was suddenly interrupted by Qin Lian. Zhang Yang, if you still want to stay in the company, you have to abide by your duty. Instantly, Zhang Yang's expression turned ugly, but he could only remain silent. At this moment, the other technicians also realized that something was wrong. This, our computer, why can't we move it? F*CK, it can't be? The faces of the technicians turned ashen. Then Zhang Yang quickly made a call to his master, but the answer he got made his face turn pale. Boss Qin, my master said that this was done by a hacker organization, but he can't deal with so many hacker attacks. As for our computer, he doesn't know what's going on either. Can your master's organization help? My master is in the organization and his words carry little weight, Zhang Yang said softly. When everyone heard this, they became even more nervous and afraid. So, the Qin Corporation was finished this time? You guys go downstairs and have a meal first. Qin Luyan glanced at the two computers that could not be used and did not reprimand them. It was as if he had already known this outcome. When Zhang Yang and the rest heard this, they glanced at Bei Yunj with ugly expressions and felt inexplicably aggrieved. 12th Literature Network, but now that the computer could not be used, they would really be sitting there in a daze. After Zhang Yang and the rest left, Qin Luyan looked at Bei Yunj. What do you want to eat? I find them noisy. Bei Yunj did not hide it. Hearing this, Qin Luyan's eyes darkened and he said, You don't have to worry about the Qin Corporation. No matter what happens to the Qin Corporation, I will guarantee that you will have no worries for the rest of your life. After he was reborn, Qin Luyan had already transferred all his private assets to Pei Yunji's name. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Luyan's cell phone rang. He looked at the overseas number and his gaze turned cold with a hint of hostility. After he hung up, the phone kept ringing. Go out and pick him up. After Bei Yunji finished speaking, Qin Luyan thought that he had disturbed Bei Yunji, so he took his phone and went out. At this time, Bei Yunji closed the Maps of the Gods interface. While the entire corporation was in a state of anxiety, the hacker group that was attacking the Qin Corporation on the other side looked at their progress. They were clearly going to cause the collapse of the Qin Corporation soon. However, in the first 10 minutes, they could not continue to attack the Qin family. It was as if it was being locked by something, making people feel that something was wrong. This made them inexplicably flustered. They had a bad premonition. However, if the people from the Qin Corporation's technical department had seen the situation on the screen, they would have realized that their situation was exactly the same as theirs. Bei Yunji unwrapped a soft candy and slowly bit the tip of her tongue. Her gaze swept across the loopholes that the technical department had not solved, but she was not in a hurry. She adjusted the voice changer and her fingertips jumped on the keyboard as she started to lock onto the tracking device. At this moment, she clearly heard the conversation between that woman and Qin Luyan. President Qin, how have you been? Is your company doing well? Chapter 521. If you had promised me back then, wouldn't it be a good situation for us to win both Country A and Country R's markets? Elena smiled and said, I heard that you've terminated your contract and changed to someone else to protect the company's security system. I have to say, President Qin, you're really wary of me. Is Miss Elena so short of men? Qin Luyan took off his gold-rimmed glasses. The cold glint in his eyes was distant, and his eyes were refined and handsome as he asked casually. Just as expected. As soon as Qin Luyan finished speaking, Elena suddenly fell silent. Qin Luyan, am I not good enough? In this world, you can't find anyone who loves you more than me. Elena's tone was resentful. Be it in terms of looks or family background, she was clearly the most suitable candidate to be Qin Luyan's wife. However, when the man on the other end of the phone heard this, he only sneered lightly, but the mockery was very obvious. There was a cold glint in his eyes. Qin Luyan did not expect this woman to have the cheek to ask for love. In this world, the person he wanted to end the most was this woman. However, Qin Luyan's attitude made Elena furious. Qin Luyan, I know your ability. You can make the Qin Corporation grow faster in the future. But now, as long as I want to, the Qin Corporation will go bankrupt. When that time comes, you'll be nothing but a penniless cripple. As for your precious sister, I'll think of ways to make her suffer. Elena, don't court death. The man's voice was filled with endless coldness. I really didn't expect that the first time I've seen you so angry is for your sister. Elena laughed, her voice filled with bewitchment. In that case, Lu Yen, as long as you say that you love me, I'll let this crisis end quickly. How about that? It's also for your sister. These words made the veins on the back of the man's hand pop up. She continued to smile. The hacker you hired can't fight against a hacker organization. Suddenly, the girl who was eavesdropping on the conversation slowly pressed a keyboard. She leaned closer to the speaker and asked with a lazy smile, Is that what you think? After this voice was recorded by the computer, Elena and Qin Luyan heard another androgynous voice. Immediately, Elena froze, and Qin Luyan looked surprised. This person was the person he had hired? Or you? Elena asked immediately, feeling uneasy for some reason. That hacker hired by the Qin family. Bei Yunji's eyes curved into crescents as she said lazily, This is my first time accepting an order. If there's anything I'm sorry about, please forgive me. These words inexplicably made Elena fall into an unknown fear. Do you know who the hackers around me are? Don't worry, we'll know soon enough. Bei Yunji smirked and hung up the call. Not long after, she walked over to the computer that Zhang Yang had just used and started working. The data and codes in front of him were also constantly changing. This made the hackers who were originally anxious to unlock the computer suddenly see the computer being automatically unlocked. What's going on? What's going on? The internal hackers were having a conversation. They had never encountered such a problem before. They were inexplicably locked and inexplicably unlocked. It was as if they were being controlled by someone. Could it be someone from the Qin group? Chapter 522. Impossible. How could the Qin group know any hackers? Someone immediately rejected it. Although their hibernating lion 173 couldn't compare to a top hacker organization like the Chaos, it was still a top-notch hacker organization that made people tremble in fear. Who dared to go against their hibernating lion 173? I heard that the new hacker they hired was connected by Country R's Institute of Computational Technology. Could it really be? Is a person whose name I've never heard of worthy of you making a fuss? That person sneered. Seeing that the screen had been unsealed, he continued to operate in disbelief. A dark look flashed across his eyes. Looking at the confidential documents of the Qin group that were about to be transferred out, his expression became even more excited. I've transferred the documents. At this moment, the bespectacled boy seemed to be elated, his eyes filled with contempt and disdain. Just the Qin group wanted to stop him? The others could not help but be surprised. Hans, how did you do it? Hans sneered arrogantly. Isn't it just the Qin group? It didn't take much effort. As long as this document is sent out, the entire Qin group will suffer the most serious commercial impact. At this moment, many people heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Hans was here. Otherwise, their hibernating lion 173 would have become a joke. I thought it was someone from the Qin group who invited an incredible god. Now it seems that we were alarmed for nothing. A few people mocked the Qin group, their eyes full of arrogance. Brothers, let's work harder. If the Qin group is destroyed by us, this will be another chance for us to become famous. At this point, everyone's blood boiled as they continued to attack the Qin group. At the same time, Hans was about to send the document out when the computer started to lose control. His expression changed. What's going on? Hans's sudden exclamation made everyone who was still boiling with excitement stop what they were doing. What's wrong, Hans? Hans gritted his teeth. He didn't believe that he couldn't handle this matter. But who knew? Just as he was about to unlock the control, the screen suddenly turned black. A familiar scene suddenly appeared on the computer. 2 pairs of shoes, a bed, and 2 figures rolling on the bed. No, it's not like that. Hans's expression changed. His fingers kept typing on the keyboard, but the image became clearer and clearer. His voice grew louder and louder. Even the members of the organization he was talking to could hear him. What is this? The others were also shocked by the figure that appeared on their screens. Those who didn't know better would have thought that he had turned on some pornographic film. F***CK, why isn't it stopping? There were some people who didn't mind watching this, but there were also some who were horrified. He wanted to turn off this creepy movie as soon as possible. But who knew? No matter what they did, the screen seemed to be locked. They could only sit and watch the movie that confused them. Only Hans's face had turned pale. Not many people knew about his sexual orientation. He was also afraid that this matter would be exposed. But the situation now was very clear. That person did it on purpose. Not bad. In the organization, one of the middle-aged men who had long since admitted his sexual orientation had a particularly oily smile as he stared at Hans's white butt. Chapter 523. It can't be. How can there be such a good thing? Who is inviting us to watch the movie for free? A few members of the organization originally wanted to mock the person who did this, but they didn't expect Hans's face to turn pale bit by bit. Especially among the members, they kept commenting. This B***** is really coquettish. TSK, I wonder what her name is. Even if I have to spend money, I'm willing to have sex with her. These dirty words made Hans's face turn red and green. After watching for about 10 minutes, the screen was cut off. Why are you not showing us after watching half of it? That's right, that's right. The members of the organization were still jeering. Unexpectedly, an unfamiliar voice slowly sounded through their earphones. Mr. Hans, have you heard the members' requests? As soon as he finished speaking, these members looked as if they had seen a ghost. Their internal conversation had been deciphered by someone. Who exactly are you? Hans's expression was ugly as he clenched his fists weakly. I accepted the Qin group's order. Hearing this, someone immediately said, Max. However, he had never even heard of this person before. How could he have such an ability? Max, do you want to go against our hibernating lion 173? Hans's tone was cold, obviously threatening. Bei Yunj slowly repaired the Qin group system and said in a casual tone, it might not be impossible. As he spoke, it was full of arrogance and indifference. You. Hans's expression was ugly. Do you really think that I can't deal with you? As soon as he finished speaking, 187 the members of the group saw a sentence on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Hans, for dedicating yourself to art. So, the movie just now was actually Hans. Most of them in their organization had never seen each other, so they didn't recognize him. But now that they saw those words, they could roughly guess which one was Hans from the voice. The one who was pressed down, no one said anything. But Hans also saw those words and couldn't help but slam his earphones on the table. He had never hated someone so much in his life. He remembered it. Hans gritted his teeth with hatred. His eyes revealed a fierce look as he began to transfer the Qin group's assets again. However, at this moment, Bei Yunj had already fixed the loophole in the system and recovered the funds that had been transferred. But in fact, not much of the funds had been transferred in the beginning. They wanted to use this to make the people of the Qin think that their target was those funds. Their true goal was the confidential documents of the Qin family. Once the confidential documents were leaked, it would be extremely beneficial to the Qin's competitors. The Qin would also be attacked from both front and rear. Hans's movements were very fast, and the way he attacked the system was also very tricky. However, he didn't expect that after finding 7 or 8 blind spots, he would be ejected in the end. But clearly, half an hour ago, these broken systems were like tofu to him, and he could easily crush them. But what's going on? Only 10 minutes had passed. How is this possible? Hans's face was livid. He gritted his teeth and said, Max, are you deliberately going against me? Don't think that you're so great. Do you know that this circle is actually a battlefield? In this circle, there was bound to be someone who could deal with her. Who knew? Bei Yunj continued to operate. In the next moment, everyone's screen suddenly turned black. She suddenly curled her lips, and her voice was lazy and unruly. Battlefield? Isn't this my battlefield? Chapter 524. When everyone regained their senses, they saw that their computers had been destroyed. Their expressions changed. F***CK, what's going on? My F***King custom-made computer crashed just like that? Me too. What's going on? The shocked voices of his companions kept coming from Hans's earpiece. This time, he realized that he had really provoked someone he shouldn't have. Max, you really don't leave any leeway for others. Hans was extremely angry as he gritted his teeth. He did not expect that this person would use such a move to prevent the Qin family's confidential documents from being leaked. He did not consider that they still had other important information that was saved in the computer. Now, with Max's actions, all of it had disappeared with the Qin family's documents. That's right, so don't look for trouble with me. Bei Yunj curled her lips. Her tone was casual and playful, but she did not allow anyone to object. If you don't want to end your hacking career, then get lost as soon as possible. When Qin Luyan returned, he saw that Bei Yunj had just stood up. Are you ready to leave? Yes. Bei Yunj hummed in response. I'll send you off. Even though the Qin family was in such a situation, Qin Luyan was still more concerned about Bei Yunj's matter. No need, it's not far. With that said, Bei Yunj went downstairs and left. At this moment, those people had just returned from dinner and saw Bei Yunj leaving with a laptop. She's finally gone. Zhang Yang could not help but laugh mockingly. All right, let's hurry up and settle our own jobs. After that person finished speaking, he was about to continue fixing the bugs. However, when he looked up, he was stunned. What's going on? Did the gods appear? What nonsense are you talking about? Someone looked at the boy in confusion. I'm not talking nonsense. The bugs are gone automatically. That person could not help but widen his eyes. This is too strange. This is one of the top 10 supernatural events. There are so many bugs. How could they be gone after we left for half an hour? As soon as he finished speaking, everyone could not help but lean over to take a look. Even Qin Luyan frowned and looked at the screen. Don't you think that not only are the bugs gone, but the security system has also changed? Yeah, it seems like someone has redesigned the security system. What's going on? The entire technical department of the Qin Corporation felt that this was the work of their ancestors. Otherwise, how could such a strange thing happen? The bugs were fixed, the funds were returned, and the security system was redesigned for no reason. It was too shocking. At this moment, only Qin Luyan had a suspicion in his heart. Just now, only Gur had been in the technology room. On the way back, Bei Yunj subconsciously hailed a cab and prepared to go home. But half a minute later, Bei Yunj realized that something was wrong. She had just taken a taxi and subconsciously returned to Huashidu's place. Bei Yunj, uncle, changed the route. Bei Yunj gave him the address of the Qin family's old house. However, the driver seemed to be someone who had seen a lot of the world. Young lady, you're thinking about your boyfriend. Why make things difficult for yourself? How many marriages and relationships have been tormented like this? Bei Yunj. That's not my boyfriend. When the driver heard this, he nodded with an expression that said, if you say so, then so be it. Bei Yunj thought for a moment. I just moved. Chapter 525. As soon as he finished speaking, the phone in Bei Yunj's pocket rang. Look, is your boyfriend looking for you? The driver snorted. Bei Yunj glanced at him and took out her phone to take a look. It was Huashidu. Bei Yunj's expression did not look too good, but she did not want to give the driver a chance to continue talking to her, so she quickly answered the call. What's wrong? The man's low and magnetic voice entered her ears through the current on the phone. Yunyun, where are you? I just left the Qin group and am about to go back, Bei Yunj said unhurriedly. The man could tell that she was not referring to him when she said she was going back. His low and deep voice carried a hoarse smile as he brazenly teased her ear. Then can you do me a favor? Bei Yunj, what favor? Buy something back. After Bei Yunj quickly memorized what Huashidu wanted, she realized that something was wrong. If she helped him buy something, wouldn't she have to go back to the Hua family? At this moment, the driver did not know what was going on, but he had already changed the direction of the car. He even looked at Bei Yunj with a subtle gaze. It was a little comforting and encouraging. Bei Yunj, did your boyfriend ask you to bring something back? Bei Yunj could not be bothered to explain and replied casually. When they saw the nearest supermarket by the roadside, Bei Yunj was about to get out of the car when she heard the driver instruct her again. It's okay for a little girl to be a little willful, but you must know how to coax people. Okay, Bei Yunj replied lazily. You are young and have plenty of time, but there are some things that you should plan early. The driver seemed to often share his experience with others. In the future, have you thought about how many children you want? The uncle's voice was a little loud. As a result, Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing, who were teaming up with Bei Yunj, heard the commotion on Bei Yunj's side. Their fingers trembled and they fell into a strange silence. But in the next moment, they then heard Bei Yunj speak slowly and without hesitation. Let's start with 4 or 5 of them. 3 of them will work for me, 1 will be given to him to inherit the company, and the worst one will be sent abroad. Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing? The middle-aged driver, did she think she was in a claw machine and could randomly grab a few dolls? When he got out of the car, the driver could not help but remind her, young lady, it's better to set a small goal first. Until the end of the team battle, Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing were very proud. What strange things did they hear just now? Bei Yunj returned to the living room with a bag of snacks. As expected, the man was wearing a white shirt and black trousers, sitting on the sofa. Brother, did you want this? Bei Yunj asked with a half-smile. As soon as he finished speaking, Bei Yunj suddenly heard a childish voice and was pleasantly surprised. Sister, you're back. Bei Yunj lowered her head and saw a little guy running towards her. He was blinking his big eyes and looked extremely adorable. It was Mo. Beside him was an Alaskan who was rolling around. Mo, why are you here? Bei Yunj put the snacks aside, picked up Mo and asked. Mo unceremoniously hugged Bei Yunj's neck and kissed Bei Yunj's cheek. She did not notice the gaze from somewhere. Mo miss sister. Didn't sister miss Mo? Chapter 526. Yes. Bei Yunj had never liked children, but she did like children like Mo. Then can Mo sleep with sister? Mo crossed her fingers and placed them under her chin. She had a cute pleading look on her face. Mo added, I promise I won't cause trouble for sister. At this moment, the man on the sofa glanced at Mo. His pale and abstinent eyes were a little cold. When he asked the old madam to borrow this child, the child immediately agreed when he heard that he could see Bei Yunj if he stayed with him. Along the way, he also promised that he would coax Bei Yunj to stay and not stick to Bei Yunj. However, the moment Bei Yunj returned, his true nature was exposed. The man's faint and magnetic voice sounded. The moment he saw Mo lying pitifully on Bei Yunj's shoulder, Hoshidu realized that he had found trouble for himself. You can sleep with sister. Bei Yunj put Mo down and took the bag of snacks that she had just bought. She held Mo's hand and went upstairs. She did not even look at him. Hoshidu was speechless. The next day, Bei Yunj was the first to finish breakfast and go to school. Only the two of them were left sitting at the dining table. The man wiped the corners of his mouth and asked casually, Are you happy? Sister likes me. Why can't she sleep with me? Mo snorted and seriously held his small spoon to eat his porridge. Also, sister smells so good. As soon as he finished speaking, Sang-su, who was waiting for Hoshidu, suddenly understood why the aura of this pair of brothers was becoming more and more strange. It was because little young master had slept with Miss Pei. Wei-chung. Sang-su was a little surprised. After all, with little young master's personality, he did not like people who were not close to him touching him, not to mention sleeping with someone else. Sang-su, since she has returned in the past 2 days, after picking Mo up from school, send him to his place to continue his lessons, Hoshidu said slowly. She was one of the top perfumers in the country. Because of her good looks, she became popular on the internet 2 years ago. But Master Du sent the little master to Sushi's class just because the little master said that it smelled good. I don't want that. Mo couldn't believe it and immediately refused. Master Du, young master is still young, I don't think he understands. Sang-su had heard from the people in the old residence that Hoshidu had been gifted since he was young. He learned everything properly and understood everything with just a hint. However, the young master did not have this talent. Other than mathematics, it was very difficult for him to learn anything else. Hoshidu said nonchalantly, You have to learn if you don't know. Don't send him back before 8. Sang-su, at this moment, Mo was stunned. He was still young and did not understand what a tool man meant. Bei Yunj was relieved to see Hoshidu's message telling her that Director Lin had been brought to the Qin family's old residence. Subsequently, he had just returned to Hengda. Bei Yunj was called to the office by Teacher Wen. What's wrong, Teacher Wen? Hearing Bei Yunj's voice, Teacher Wen took a deep breath. Your monthly exam. What's going on? Didn't you want me to do better? Bei Yunj glanced at him. Teacher Wen, that was the situation, but this was better. Wasn't it a little beyond his imagination? Chapter 527. Seeing Teacher Wen's excited expression, Bei Yunj felt a sense of déjà vu. She also had an inexplicable sense of familiarity and a bad feeling. In the afternoon, Bei Yunj looked at the information teacher Wen had just given her and fell silent. Master Pei, are you and Brother Chu going? Lu Yuanxi glanced at Bei Yunj and Chu Zhixing's information and couldn't help but look resentful. This was the information of Yunqing University's special class. This special class had only been held in the past 3 years. The person who got first place could have their scores reduced by 60 points, and the second and third places could have their scores reduced by 40 and 20 points. However, this kind of thing was meaningless to Bei Yunj. Only old one can think of this. Bei Yunj threw the things on the table without any interest. But Master Pei, if you go to the special class, you can skip class openly in the future, Chu Zhixing said straightforwardly. When Bei Yunj heard this, she raised her eyebrows and looked at this special class seriously. The corners of her lips curled up unconsciously. However, isn't this special class an elimination system? Do we have to compete? Lu Yuanxi asked. Chu Zhixing was silent for a moment. Do you think she can be eliminated? Lu Yuanxi, sorry to disturb him. He was thinking too much. Suddenly, Chu Zhixing remembered and said, Oh right, Master Pei, I've sent you the things I prepared for you on my birthday party. Bei Yunj looked at the information and responded nonchalantly. She did not notice anything wrong at all. At this moment, Bei Yunj received a few messages. Professor Do, Student Pei, have you solved the questions? It's been half a month. Professor Do, look, mathematics still needs to be studied. Professor Do, come to our department. I promise you won't waste your talent. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched when she saw this message. Were all the professors of Yun University so free? Si Qingyan was the same. He had nothing to do in the institute every day. But after returning home, Lingjio Literature Network, however, Bei Yunj took out the large stack of A4 drafts and looked at them thoughtfully. She had to admit that the questions Professor Do gave her were indeed different from the ones she had solved before. However, many things in the computer field were complementary to mathematics. Therefore, it was easy for Bei Yunj to solve problems using 2 different ways of thinking. Out of the 7 questions, Bei Yunj had only solved 1. There was still 1 more question that needed to be solved. The next moment, Bei Yunj took out another stack of A4 papers and continued to solve the problem. More than an hour later, Bei Yunj heard movement outside the door. She walked over and opened the bedroom door. Aunt Meow, what's wrong? Bei Yunj asked. Auntie Meow smiled and said, Miss Pei, I think a parcel has arrived. Would you like to take a look downstairs? All right. Bei Yunj nodded. After closing the door, she followed Auntie Meow downstairs. Where's my brother? Bei Yunj asked when she saw that there was no one downstairs. Sir? Sir is working in the study. There seems to be a video conference. Bei Yunj nodded when she heard this. Then, her gaze landed on the delivery box on the table. After opening it, Bei Yunj realized that it was a red lace tutu dress with a cat ear headband lying beside it. She really wanted to know if this was Chu Zhixing's aesthetic or Lu Yuanxi's. Bei Yunj suppressed her temper and opened the group chat between the 3 of them. Bei Yunj, smile. A few seconds later. Lu Yuanxi? Chapter 528. Bei Yunj. Picture, Bei Yunj, did you choose this? Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing, who were fighting in the internet cafe, fell silent when they saw the photo. Wasn't this dress pretty? Although they didn't deny it, they wanted to see Master Pei's feminine look. Bei Yunj, I'll keep it well and bring it for you to wear. When they saw this message, Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing's scalps started to go numb. They hurriedly picked up their phones and asked someone to help them find normal clothes. At this moment, before Bei Yunj could throw the thing away, she saw a slender hand pick up the red lace tutu dress that was casually rolled up. Bei Yunj looked at Huashidu. Did Yunyun buy new clothes? Huashidu curled his lips. He had never seen Bei Yunj dressed like this. I was going to throw it away. Brother, you... Before Bei Yunj could finish speaking, she was interrupted. Aunt Meow. The man suddenly spoke. Aunt Meow quickly walked over. Mr. Hua, do you need anything? Put this dress away. Huashidu glanced at the cat ears on the table from the corner of his eye. The corners of his thin red lips curled into a lazy and cynical smile. He bent down and picked up the hairband with the cat ears. Did you buy this too, Yunyun? Bei Yunj. Someone gave it to me. Huashidu's warm fingers rubbed the cat ears. His half-dark gaze was fixed on her with an indiscernible sense of aggression. His lazy voice was dragged out. It was light and seductive, making people blush and their hearts beat faster. This will be useful in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, Huashidu asked Aunt Meow to put the things away and put them in the storage room. Bei Yunj subconsciously turned her face away. Her ears inexplicably burned. Why was this D*Emin man so lustful? I won't wear it. Bei Yunj did not have a good impression of this kind of thing. Huashidu's eyes were refined and noble. He only lowered his voice and chuckled. Then he casually pinched the back of her neck. Yun will know how to wear it when she grows up. Bei Yunj? What did this dog man mean? Only Auntie Meow, who had been there before, was grinning from ear to ear. Young people are really interesting. Even the old woman blushed when she heard that. However, Aunt Meow could tell that Huashidu was very patient with Bei Yunj. He was probably afraid that the little girl would be frightened. Bei Yunj, who had yet to notice anything, had dinner with Huashidu. Where's Mo? Bei Yunj asked casually. I'm playing outside, Huashidu said calmly. Bei Yunj nodded and didn't think much about it. Yunqing University. As soon as Bei Yunj and the others entered, they attracted a lot of attention. Isn't that girl too good-looking? Look at the boy next to her. His facial features are so deep. Is he mixed blood? Chu Zhixing, who was holding an umbrella for Bei Yunj to block the sun, heard the discussion and subconsciously froze. Master Pei, let's walk faster. Chu Zhixing was not used to this kind of environment. Bei Yunj responded and looked at the umbrella again. She asked subconsciously, Little Chu, do you wear this umbrella every day? Chu Zhixing. Although Bei Yunj was the one taking care of Chu Zhixing when it came to important matters, it was the other way around when it came to daily matters. Chapter 529. In the end, Chu Zhixing was like an old mother, afraid that Bei Yunj would get sunburned. Until they arrived at the hall. Bei Yunj and Chu Zhixing found their identity cards. Chu Zhixing was assigned to the advanced group. Bei Yunj was assigned to the ordinary group. Teacher, how are we divided into groups? Chu Zhixing asked with a frown. Your math scores for the whole year will be divided equally. The teacher pushed up his glasses and smiled. Chu Zhixing turned his head and asked unwillingly, Master Pei, how were your math scores in your previous school? Bei Yunj thought for a moment. More than 10 marks. The original owner was indeed not very good at math and science. Chu Zhixing was speechless. If that was the case, Master Pei's placement in the ordinary group was understandable. Bei Yunj took the materials from the teacher and turned to walk to the classroom for the ordinary group. Classroom 102. Bei Yunj had just walked in when more than half of the people were already seated. She glanced around indifferently and walked straight to the back row. She sat down, took out a piece of draft paper, and continued to solve the problem. It had to be said that this problem was indeed quite difficult. No one knew who came up with it. There were almost no existing mathematical formulas that could be advanced. Bei Yunj wrote for about half an hour. The people in front were all discussing. I heard that our special class can go abroad to compete in an international math competition. It's very valuable. Some people couldn't help but be excited. It's not our turn to win the competition. There are 30 to 40 people in the advanced group. The girl in a plain dress curled the corners of her mouth and said arrogantly, My cousin is Su Xianing in the advanced group. When the time comes to sign up for the competition, we can choose teammates at will, so I can team with my cousin. Su Xianing? Is it Su Xianing from number 1 high school? Isn't she the top student in the 3rd year group? I heard that she got full marks in almost all her math exams in high school. Hearing this, everyone's eyes were filled with envy. I'm jealous. She's really strong. Do you think Su Xianing or Cheng Zihuai is better? Then it must be Cheng Zihuai. Su Xianing's language skills are quite average. Moreover, you don't know, right? Cheng Zihui has entered the Qingchong Computing Center. After saying this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. If the two of them were to form a team, wouldn't they be the big shot team? The plain-dressed girl's face was also filled with pride. I basically know everything about my sister. At that time, if she doesn't have enough teammates, I can help you. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone couldn't wait to curry favor with the girl. At this moment, a girl who looked gentle and quiet walked up to Bei Yunj. Can I sit here? As you wish. Bei Yunj came in a hurry today, so she didn't eat much. Now, she was lying lazily on the table, not wanting to waste her energy. The girl smiled and sat down beside Bei Yunj. She took out her notebook and pen and made sure that everything was neat and tidy. She turned around and saw Bei Yunj lying lazily on her stomach with a pile of draft papers in her arms. Teacher isn't here yet? The girl asked nonchalantly. Yes. Bei Yunj responded faintly. Then do you want to eat something? After saying this, the girl took out a paper box with 3 croissants inside. Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. The moment she looked up, she saw the girl's lips curved as she looked at her with interest. It was as if she had seen a cat on the road and was eager to feed it. Chapter 530. Bei Yunj narrowed her eyes and did not see the girl's expression. She only reached out lazily and took a croissant. Are you from Hongda too? This indifferent and lazy look was very similar to the ragdoll cat she had raised when she was young. No, I'm from Yizhong. The girl added, I'm a repeater. Me too. Bei Yunj took a bite of the croissant and glanced at the girl unconsciously. Is Yizhong close to Hongda? Not very far. The girl seemed to have thought of something and said with a smile, Did you buy things from my mother's shop in the past? My mother owns a shop near Hongda. Bei Yunj sized up the girl's appearance. She did look a little similar. Bei Yunj replied and thought for a moment. It's delicious. My name is Song Yao. Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj then looked at Song Yao. Song Yao's temperament was very good, gentle and elegant. She was wearing a dress that had been washed until it was slightly frayed, but she still looked refreshing and her eyes were clear. How's your mathematics? Song Yao asked. It's all right. Bei Yunj held the croissant in one hand and chewed slowly, but she held a pen with the other. She suddenly had an idea for the last step. At the same time, a male lecturer walked in. Hello, everyone. I'm your teacher, Zhou Tao. Teacher Zhou looked friendly with a smile. When the students below the stage heard this, they also greeted him. I'm very honored to be your lecturer. I believe that everyone here is a top student in school. But in this class now, everyone is 0. Teacher Zhou smiled and said, Here, talent and hard work are equally important. Teacher, can the students from the ordinary group participate in the international competition? Someone could not help asking. Yes, but dark horses don't appear every year. If you want to be a dark horse, you have to work 100 times harder than others. At this point, Teacher Zhou opened the slide. What entered her eyes were 8 portraits hanging on the tall white wall. But only the third one had a portrait on it. The other 7 were all blank. That's Mr. Huntington. Someone with sharp eyes recognized it at a glance. This was a world-class mathematician. Yes, this is Professor Huntington. Teacher Zhou smiled and said, These 8 photo frames are used to hold the photos of the world's top mathematicians. Huntington was the first mathematician to solve one of the 8 great mathematical problems in the past 1,000 years. As for the remaining 7 questions, no one has been able to solve them. Is it that difficult? Below the stage, some people were whispering. When Teacher Zhou heard this, he only smiled. Then he opened another picture. It was the 7 unsolved math problems. They were so densely packed that one would feel dizzy just by looking at them. F***. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Backstage, Bei Yunj had just finished writing the last step. She looked up and suddenly froze. She looked up at the question on the slide and then at the question on her draft. This was no longer as simple as being similar. These were the 7 questions that Professor Dou had given her. Bei Yunj pinched the paper, her fingertips turning slightly white and her eyes darkening. In the next moment, she tore these drafts apart. This made Song Yao turn to look at her unconsciously. What's wrong? Nothing. Bei Yunj took out her phone and saw the message Professor Do had sent her. Chapter 5:31. Aren't the questions quite difficult? Classmate Pei, talented people like us should be even more hardworking, right? Student Pei? Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched when she saw the news that came every day. Marcus had asked her to try solving these questions before she went to Yun University. Many people had expressed that she could try solving the 8 most difficult questions in the mathematics world when she published a mathematics paper on an international forum. However, Bei Yunj had already rejected them. In her previous life, her ancestors had indeed left behind 7 similar problems for future generations to solve. Bei Yunj was the youngest person to solve the problem and was put on a pedestal. However, for some reason, she did not continue to solve the remaining 3 problems. At that time, everyone said that Bei Yunj was young and that she could solve more problems than this one. However, who knew that ever since Bei Yunj solved that question, she had never touched mathematics research again. At most, she would occasionally publish a paper. This made people start to doubt the authenticity of Bei Yunj's solution. After all, although Bei Yunj's father was born into a rich family, he was very talented in mathematics. Before Bei Yunj's father was the 3rd person to solve the 7 problems. He was only 26 years old. As a result, many people were debating the authenticity of Bei Yunj's solution. Did a 16-year-old girl solve this problem, or did Mr. Pei solve it? Of course, some people also suspected that Bei Yunj's talent had run out. However, Bei Yunj's computer science achievements would bring a huge shock to people almost every year. Gradually, people stopped talking about this matter. If Bei Yunj's talent had really run out, then God must have felt that the door was not wide enough and directly chiseled the wall open for her. Old Do, is the genius you were talking about so difficult to deal with? The professor in the same office couldn't help but ask. It's more than difficult. Professor Do shook his head. In order to win over a genius, one had to work 100 times harder. I see that you've been looking up information recently. What are you doing? The professor next to him laughed. The little girl is not interested in our mathematics department, so I found those 8 questions for her. As soon as Professor Do finished speaking, the people around him stopped drinking their tea. Wait, which 8 questions are you talking about? It's the most difficult question in the world of mathematics, Professor Do said impatiently as he waved his hand. The professor. Are you serious? 18 questions were not a joke, okay? These were the 8 most difficult problems to solve in the mathematics world in the past 1,000 years. The portrait of the first solver was hung on the central wall of Neely University's hall. I think that little girl has a good temperament, but she lacks experience. So I sent her the questions last month. After Professor Do finished speaking, he was still drinking his tea proudly. It will take at least 40 years for someone to be able to solve these problems. Old Do, you're too cunning. Be careful that when people come to the mathematics department and find out that you sent out the questions, they will hate you to death. That person couldn't help but laugh. If someone threw a set of questions at him, he would probably doubt whether he had the right to stay in the academic circle. She's young and very talented in mathematics. She can understand this new field in less than a month after publishing the paper. Professor Do said meaningfully, in the future, she might be able to solve it. Their country's scientific research had always been underestimated. Chapter 5:32. He didn't think that the children in their country were worse than the children abroad. All they lacked was time to change the current situation. Back home, Bei Yunj glanced at the messages. Most of the messages were from Professor Do. Professor Do, how's the solution coming along? Very soon. Bei Yunj replied. Bei Yunj, not very good. Seeing this message, Professor Do felt inexplicably guilty. He kept feeling that Bei Yunj's attitude didn't seem right. Could it be that she had found out that he had deliberately given her questions? The next moment, Professor Do sent another message. Before Bei Yunj could read it, she received a call. Teacher, Bei Yunj could tell that it was Tich's voice. Tich was a little nervous. Are you busy? No, what's the matter? Bei Yunj sat down and threw the thick stack of draft paper into a wire basket that she usually used. I just arrived in Yuncheng. Teacher, are you free tomorrow? Bei Yunj thought for a moment. Saturday. Is that okay? Tomorrow happened to be Chu Zhixing's birthday. Tich was a little flattered. Because it was the first time she was talking to Bei Yunj alone, she was extremely nervous. All right then. Good night. Bei Yunj responded lazily. Good night, teacher. After Tich finished speaking, she couldn't control her excitement. In a high-end hotel. As soon as Tich landed, he couldn't help but say, Teacher just said good night to me. Jasmine. But we're not at night. That's what teacher said. When Tich thought of how good-looking his teacher was, he started to blush. Jasmine. This was the extent of the otaku. At this moment, in the lobby of the hotel, two handsome foreign men with exquisite facial features had attracted the attention of many people because of their presence. So handsome. Someone couldn't help but sigh softly. Sure enough, all good-looking young men, regardless of nationality, were very eye-catching. Until 2 hours later, in the top 3 of the hot search list, there were also corresponding terms such as hashtag Yuncheng chanced encounter with the top rich second generation of our nation hashtag Tich, and hashtag Jasmine. This caused a lot of discussion among the citizens. Jasmine I can. As expected of the son of the heavenly queen, he's so handsome. Who's the handsome guy next to Jasmine? Beauties quickly arranged the information. DBQ, I just connected to the internet. I don't know about Jasmine either. Popular science post. Jasmine is the son of Winslina, one of the top rich second-generation heirs in our nation. His father is the leader of the fashion industry, which is one of the top 10 fashion companies in the world. Not many people might know Tich, but everyone must know about the Delaney Group. Tich was the only son of the founder of the Delaney Group. They really were all second-generation rich kids. Moreover, he is young and rich. F***CK? I was shocked by the post. I thought he was just an ordinary handsome guy. What is this rich second generation doing in Yun City? I remember that the rich people overseas are very repulsive towards us continents. Everyone was puzzled. Tich and Jasmine weren't ordinary rich people either. They were the top rich second generation heirs of our nation. But soon there was an answer. Those in the academic circle, come and say something. As far as I know, it's very likely that they're here to participate in the academic exchange. It happened to be held in Yun City this year. OS. Jasmine and Tich are interns at the Institute of Computational Technology in our nation. F***CK, students. Chapter 5:33. He's handsome, but his teacher is? That's not right. Even if his teacher is an intern at Country R's Institute of Computational Technology, he shouldn't be qualified to participate in this academic exchange, right? Yeah, and didn't something happen to Marcus recently? The intern doesn't have an invitation, but he definitely has one. Oh, isn't he spoiling his students too much? Boo-hoo, I want to be his student too. Upstairs, why are you so drunk? The rich second-generation heirs are outstanding interns, so they have the chance to be his students. So what everyone didn't expect was that the main character would respond very quickly. Jasmine, this is my first post on Country A's social media site. Please take care of me in the future. Seeing this post, the netizens were all excited. J. Ming, Groundhog screams. He actually opened an official account. Hubby, do you lack money? Calm down. Don't let Jasmine think that Country A's girls are like wolves and tigers. As soon as this message was posted, he immediately received a reply from the main character. Jasmine replied, "That won't happen." Haha, Jasmine is so cute. However, at this moment, Jasmine, who knew what the netizens meant through the translation, felt that the netizens were ridiculous. Like wolves and tigers? That didn't exist. Every time he handed in his report in class, he could only feel his teacher's indescribable disdain and coldness. At this moment, The netizens were still very curious about the top rich second-generation heirs. Jasmine, are you here to participate in the academic exchange? Soon, Jasmine replied. Yes, I'm here to see teacher too. Seeing Jasmine's reply, everyone could roughly guess what kind of status he had in the hearts of Jasmine's students. They didn't know whether to be envious that he had two rich second-generation heirs as students or that he had a big boss as a teacher. Baiwe. The next day, Bei Yunj woke up early in the morning and went downstairs while rubbing her face. Miss, what's wrong with your face? Auntie Meow saw it from the corner of her eye and asked with concern. Bei Yunj said, No, it's a toothache. Miss, could it be a wisdom tooth? Auntie Meow asked worriedly. If it was a wisdom tooth, she would have to go and get it removed. Bei Yunj, it really did look like wisdom teeth. Miss, do you want to go to the hospital after school? Bei Yunj shook her head. Not yet. She still had to go to Chu Zhixing's birthday party tonight. Bei Yunj, who had woken up earlier than usual because her wisdom teeth hurt, did not see Huashidu sitting on the sofa and reading the newspaper. About 10 minutes later, the man went downstairs and saw Bei Yunj sitting on the sofa. You're up so early today? Huashidu chuckled. Sir, Miss seems to have wisdom teeth, Aunt Meow said with a frown. Those who did not know better would think that Bei Yunj had contracted some strange disease. Huashidu looked at the girl on the sofa who seemed a little unhappy. He could not help but smile. All right, I got it. Aunt Meow was relieved to hear Huashidu's words. Then I'll go and wake the young master up. Aunt Meow smiled and went upstairs. At this moment, Bei Yunj was still browsing through the literature in boredom, but the existence of wisdom teeth was still hard to ignore. Suddenly, a warm and cool touch gently pressed against Bei Yunj's cheek. This made Bei Yunj subconsciously turn her head, and her red lips brushed past the back of the man's index finger. The itchy feeling of a feather brushing past made the man's gaze darken in an instant, but it quickly returned to normal. Chapter 5:34. Bei Yunj glanced at him. It's all right. It was just that her tooth hurt in the middle of the night and she couldn't sleep much. Huashidu curled his lips and scratched her chin casually. Let's go eat first. I'll get Sing Su to apply for leave for you. Apply for leave? Yes, I'll bring you to the clinic later. In the car, Bei Yunj sat in the front passenger seat and suddenly asked, Brother, don't you have a lot of work to do in the company? It's all right. The other people in charge will do as they see fit. Huashidu said nonchalantly. Hearing this, Bei Yunj did not say anything. But in the next moment, Huashidu's phone rang. He casually pressed the answer button in the car. His handsome eyes were indifferent as he said casually, What's the matter? Master Du, have you forgotten what we have today? Bei Yunj could tell that it was Yu Hanran's voice. I have something on today. Huashidu spoke unhurriedly. When Yu Hanran heard this, he immediately asked, What happened? The man's tone was light. I'm taking my child to the hospital. Yu Hanran's voice sounded even more concerned. What's wrong with her? Is she sick? Wisdom teeth extraction. Yu Hanran. He did not care about the company's negotiations just to accompany Bei Yunj to have her wisdom teeth extracted. He almost thought that no matter how weak Bei Yunj was, she would at least have a high fever. In the end, she was just going to have her wisdom teeth extracted? Yu Hanran took a deep breath and put on a fake smile. Master Du, when I was young, I always went to the hospital alone to have my wisdom teeth extracted. Yes, I need you to go to a meeting alone now. Huashidu's low and lazy voice sounded. In the next second, the call was hung up. 5:16 Yu Hanran, who was hung up. Huashidu was really done for this time. He had already doted on her to this extent. He was really crazy. In a private clinic, Huashidu brought Bei Yunj upstairs. Then, a handsome man in a white coat walked over. There was a hint of playfulness in his eyes. Master Du, what's wrong with this little girl? This was the first time he saw Huashidu bring someone to this clinic. However, this young lady's appearance was indeed excessively beautiful. She was a femme fatale. Huashidu said casually, Let's check. She has a toothache. She must have grown wisdom teeth. Jiang Baichuan raised his eyebrows and looked at Bei Yunj again. Toothache? He thought that Huashidu had done something to harm the little girl, so he brought the little girl here to do that. In the end, he only brought a little girl here to pull out a tooth? Aren't you looking for teeth? Huashidu's gaze landed on him. Yes, yes. Jiang Baichuan chuckled and couldn't help but look at Bei Yunj. Little girl, let's go. I'll take you to fill out a form. After Bei Yunj left with the nurse, Jiang Baichuan asked curiously, Master Du, is this your relative? The man was nonchalant. Alright, I got it. Jiang Baichuan snorted. When he saw the way Huashidu looked at Bei Yunj, he roughly understood Huashidu's attitude towards this little girl. In this aspect, men knew men the best. Suddenly, Huashidu asked, will it hurt to pull out wisdom teeth? Jiang Baichuan looked at him subconsciously. After the tooth was pulled out, Bei Yunj walked out with a dark expression. Her usually smiling eyes were cold. She had an aura that said, do not disturb others. Chapter 5:35. Bei Yunj looked down and saw a cute little boy. His big eyes were bright and clear as he said in admiration, Sister is so cool. I didn't even hear you cry out in pain. Bei Yunj was originally unhappy, but when she heard this, her expression became much better. She had just pulled out her tooth and was still biting on a cotton ball to stop the bleeding. She could not speak and could only raise her eyebrows lazily. She reached out to touch the child's head and walked out of the long corridor. At this moment, the little boy turned around and saw a young man walking over. He blinked his big eyes and his eyes curved unconsciously. Sister is so gullible. The man's thin lips curled up and the corners of his upturned eyes were charming. He bent his knees and looked into the child's eyes. He handed him a box of chocolates. His deep voice had a hint of playfulness and laziness. Yes, because big sister is also a child. The man seemed to have thought of something and chuckled. She's much harder to coax than you. Thank you, dear brother. The little boy's eyes sparkled when he saw the entire box of chocolates. Then, he carried the big box of chocolates and ran away happily. After returning, there was hot porridge on the table. Huashidu saw that Bei Yunj did not eat much porridge in the morning. She must be hungry now. He glanced at his watch and saw that it was about time. He sat in front of Bei Yunj and gently scooped the porridge with his slender and good-looking hand. Auntie Meow just made it. It's a little hot. The man's clean white shirt cuffs were rolled up to his elbows in a refined manner. His handsome and noble eyes could not hide his elegance. His tone was light. Come here, I'll feed you. Bei Yunj looked at Huashidu's face and started to be bewitched again. Huashidu also felt that the little girl was staring straight at him without hiding anything. The corners of his thin red lips curled up as he carefully fed Bei Yunj the porridge that had cooled down. He looked up. Seeing the little girl looking at him with a touching gaze, Huashidu was a little amused. His voice was lazy and irredeemably sexy. Are you so touched, Yunyun? Bei Yunj nodded without thinking. Ching ching. After all, this was the first time he had been served like this. The man's eyes were dark and unreadable. Suddenly, he leaned closer to her. His deep and magnetic voice hid a hint of a smile as he whispered into her ear. Then, in the future, would you allow me to wear the cat ears that you collected from the market for me to see? Bei Yunj. Don't even think about it. The man curled his lips. If you're not saying anything, I'll take it as a yes. She quickly swallowed the porridge and seriously refused, no. Then Yunyun agrees. The man chuckled in a low voice and rubbed his fingers against her cheek intimately and happily. Bei Yunj, who was ignored. Evening. Bei Yunj followed the address and went to the private room booked by Chu Zhixing. He found that the people inside were all competing in drinking. Bei Yunj, Master Pei? One of the boys looked at Bei Yunj, who was wearing a black mask, and shouted suspiciously. Bei Yunj hummed lightly and walked into the private room to sit down. Yunj, can I drink? Lu Yuanxi originally wanted to ask Bei Yunj to drink with him, but he suddenly remembered that Bei Yunj was a girl. Bei Yunj shook her head. That's strange. Master Pei, aren't you being too reserved today? Lu Yuanxi had a feeling that Bei Yunz's aggressiveness seemed to have decreased a lot. Bei Yunz. Chapter 5:36. Bei Yunz looked at him silently for a while before she turned around indifferently. I just had my wisdom teeth extracted. Lu Yuanxi was speechless. Everyone was speechless. At first, they thought that Bei Yunz had gone to Yun University. They did not expect her to have her teeth extracted. Originally, on this day, everyone was going to have hot pot after singing. However, they were worried that Bei Yunz might not be able to do it, so they could only change it to having porridge together. However, Bei Yunz did not expect to bump into Yumanran the moment she came back from the washroom. Yunz. Yumanran sounded surprised. Why are you here? Bei Yunz asked. Me? I came with my manager. Wait a minute, Yunz, your voice is a little strange. Yumanran grabbed Bei Yunz's hand. Do you have a cold? No, I just had my wisdom teeth extracted, Bei Yunz said lazily. At this moment, Bei Yunz did not realize that she was much more patient than before. Really? Let me tell you, when my brother came back from having his wisdom teeth extracted, he almost cried in pain. Yumanran looked shocked. Bei Yunz was speechless. No wonder Yuhanran's tone did not sound too good today. Before they went back, Chu Zhixing and the rest had cancelled many projects, probably because Bei Yunz had just had her teeth extracted. But before she left, Lu Yuanxi stuffed a firecracker into her hand. Bei Yunz raised an eyebrow slowly, her eyes filled with doubt. The boy was wearing a simple black t-shirt. His handsome eyes were a little cynical. Under the night light, his dark eyes were deep and light. A low and casual teenage voice sounded teasingly. Master Pei's firecracker. For a few days, Bei Yunz did not go to the computing institute either, so she did not know what had happened in the scientific research field these few days. Until Saturday. 33 Bei Yunz asked Tich and Jasmine to meet at a cafe. When do you think the teacher will come? Jasmine was inexplicably nervous. Tich was speechless. 2 days ago, when he was nervous, Jasmine had mocked him for being useless. Now that they were about to meet, he had calmed down a little, but Jasmine was starting to get nervous. Soon, Tich would look out from time to time, but this was probably because they had been on the hot search list once. Many people kept looking at them. Seeing that the agreed time was almost up, Jasmine's gaze landed on Tich, and he immediately reached out to fix Tich's collar. Your collar is a little crooked. The next moment, Tich tacitly reached out his hand and helped Jesse adjust his tie. Yours too. Seeing this, the girls who wanted to ask for his contact information immediately gave up on the idea. Bei Yunz, who had just arrived, didn't even have time to take off her mask before she saw this scene. Bei Yunz, in the entire restaurant, only this table was filled with foreigners, so it was easy to recognize them. What are you doing? Bei Yunz asked slowly. Hearing this familiar voice and the familiar way of asking questions, Tich and Roland inexplicably stiffened. The suffocating feeling from class returned. Teacher. Tich and Jasmine were about to stutter. They looked at the girl in front of them who was wearing a hat and a mask. Even her eyes couldn't be seen clearly. They were inexplicably incoherent. They actually saw a living teacher today. Both of their hearts were in a state of shock. Bei Yunz thought for a moment. What would you like to drink? My treat. Chapter 5:37. Where's Marcus? Didn't he come with you? After ordering the drinks, Bei Yunz asked casually. Instantly, Jasmine and Tich froze, not daring to look Bei Yunz in the eye. No, he didn't come. Bei Yunz sensed that something was wrong and her tone became indifferent. He didn't come? At this moment, the two of them did not dare to speak. You're hiding something from me, Bei Yunz said casually, as if she was just stating a fact. Teacher, Jasmine and Tich's expressions changed. They were afraid of making Bei Yunz unhappy. All right, go back early after drinking. Bei Yunz's tone was indifferent, and no emotions could be seen in her eyes. However, when Jasmine and Tich heard this, they immediately panicked. Teacher, we didn't mean to hide it from you. Titch could not help but tell the truth. Yes, something happened to Marcus, so he couldn't come. Didn't want us to tell you. Jasmine's voice became softer and softer, but Bei Yunj heard it very clearly. What happened? Bei Yunj frowned unconsciously. It's... Jasmine and Titch looked at each other. In the end, Titch told her everything. Marcus was reported for vicious competition and has been suspended. After all, Marcus's Computing Institute was not a private research institute like the Computing Institute. Our nation's Institute of Computing Technology was a public research institute. Suspended. Bei Yunj frowned unconsciously. Although Marcus was nominated for Busaka this year, he did not win the award. However, his position in our nation's computing field was unshakable. Originally, our research institute agreed that we could transfer Marcus to the director position this year, but at this juncture, Marcus was reported. The people in the institute were also very worried, but now the director position had been taken over. Marcus was suspended, and they did not know if he could come back. Do you know the reason? Bei Yunj poked at the straw in her cup. They suspect that Marcus used you for vicious competition. Titch glanced at Bei Yunj and said, Indeed. During this period of time, the name T had been highly praised in the scientific research field. He was the most anticipated newcomer. Naturally, he was being stared at by countless pairs of eyes. In the eyes of ordinary people, the scientific research community was perhaps the cleanest existence. But in reality, as long as there are people, it is impossible to avoid the good and evil of human nature. Because of me? Bei Yunj's eyes darkened. She didn't care much about her reputation, so she never cared about her reputation outside. But he did not expect that it would affect Marcus. Teacher, don't blame yourself. You're also a victim in this matter. Moreover, Marcus knows that you've encountered a lot of trouble in your country, so he doesn't want you to be implicated. Jasmine comforted. Bei Yunj nodded. All right, I think I know what to do now. Those people said nothing more than that her academic results in the circle were falsified and used this matter to attack Marcus. After chatting for a while, Bei Yunj received a message. Hello, may I know who you are? I'm Superintendent Jose. I'm very happy that I can work with you in the future. The new superintendent is called Jose? Bei Yunj casually glanced at the content below and asked casually. Jasmine nodded and realized that Jose might have sent a message to Bei Yunj. However, the next moment, Bei Yunj blocked this number without looking at it. Chapter 538. This new director's behavior was rather interesting. Everyone knew that Marcus was the one who brought him into the institute. Everyone also knew that Marcus was indebted to him. However, now, he didn't mention anything about Marcus. Instead, he wanted to steal Marcus's talent. Bei Yunj snorted lightly. When Jasmine and Titch saw their teacher's actions, they roughly knew that the new director had encountered a cold rebuff. As expected, after sending the message, seeing that there was no reply, Jones couldn't help but send a few more messages, but they all sank into the sea. His expression changed and he made another call. However, after a beep, he could only hear the cold female voice of the caller ID. It was obvious that he had been blacklisted. This. Jones's face instantly turned green. In the entire institute, no one dared to disobey him like this. After eating with Titch and Jasmine, Bei Yunj went home first. On the way, she received an unknown phone call. But when she heard this angry voice, she guessed who this person was. You really dare to go against me? Do you know that Marcus will be nothing soon? How dare you provoke me like this? Bei Yunj laughed, her eyes filled with coldness that was not a smile. She was arrogant and careless. Really? Then who do you think you are? Instantly, Jones's expression changed, and Bei Yunj couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him. She directly hung up the phone and called Marcus instead. Hello? Who is it? The voice from the other end sounded a little drunk. If you're delirious, I'll call you again tomorrow, Bei Yunj said slowly. Hearing the familiar voice, Marcus sobered up. Good. Marcus probed. I heard that you've been suspended. When did this happen? Bei Yunji's tone sounded like she was asking Marcus how the weather was today. But Marcus was still quite afraid that Bei Yunji would be angry. This was half a month ago, Marcus said cautiously. Bei Yunji said leisurely, you guys hit it well. Are you angry? No. Bei Yunji leaned lazily against the car seat and said unhurriedly, it just so happens that we have less than 7 days to terminate the contract. Marcus? Heartless girl. After a while, Marcus sighed again and smiled helplessly. This time's matter has taught me a lesson. Fortunately, you still have a week before your contract is terminated. Otherwise, people like Jose would never let Bei Yunji off the hook. Marcus. Bei Yunji suddenly shouted. Marcus subconsciously asked, what's wrong? What's the big deal? Just treat it as a holiday. I'll let you come back. Bei Yunji looked at the scenery outside the window. The emotions in her beautiful eyes did not change, and her languid tone sounded as unruly as ever. Marcus' eyes were swollen and he was deeply moved. I'll never tell anyone that you have a bad temper again. Bei Yunji, the next day. The international media once again hyped up the incident at Country R's Institute of Computational Technology. The reason was that the new director was suspected of purging the institute and wanted to remove it. And at this time, Hong Chongjin, who had found an opportunity, naturally did not forget to fan the flames. Seeing that the scientific research field could create such a big commotion, the rest of the public was also very concerned about this matter. It wasn't until this afternoon that Jones accepted an interview. Chapter 539. Everyone looked at Jose, who was standing in front of the spotlight, looking like a gentle old scholar. Is that so? This is a private matter of the Research Institute. However, it is true that she is loyal to Marcus. His words were tactful, but it also told everyone that the report in the morning was not wrong. She was going to leave the Institute of Computational Technology. At this moment, someone in the Computing Institute could not sit still anymore. Where did this old trash come from? How dare he purge my student? Is he tired of living? Nancy's expression turned ugly. Looking at Jose's proud face in front of the spotlight, she was so angry that smoke was coming out of her head. At this moment, Wang Lin did not correct Nancy. Control yourself. I called Gutter just now. She told me not to interfere. She is going to be despised by everyone. Why are you not interfering? Nancy's eyes widened. Don't be anxious. You can tell everyone that she is your student. This can indeed solve the crisis for a while. But at that time, he will be watched by even more pairs of eyes. Wang Lin glanced at him. Besides, don't you know that she is from your family? If others knew that Nancy had chosen a successor, Bei Yunji would live in fear for the rest of her life. After all, those people from the Higgins family would do anything in order to fight for the successor. Then what can we do? This is the last resort. Let's wait first. Wang Lin clenched his fists. His palms were sweaty. Anyway, no matter what, the successor of the Computing Institute would be Bei Yunji. Even if that old thing was suspended from the Institute of Computational Technology, he could still come to his Computing Institute. Anyway, they would quarrel even if they did not meet. In the bedroom, Bei Yunji scanned the manuscript that she had been working on all day. 2:58. Her eyes darkened. At that moment, she clicked the mouse and sent the email. A few days later, this matter was getting bigger and bigger. Even Wang Lin could not sit still. But when he walked out of the door angrily to look for Nancy, he saw Bei Yunji squatting in the courtyard, watering the flowers. Wang Lin. It was true that Bei Yunji had a good mentality. If it were anyone else, they would be pouring water on their own heads instead of the flower's head. He walked closer to Bei Yunji and asked gently, Are you all right? That's good. The matter should be settled soon. Bei Yunji narrowed her beautiful eyes and glanced at the sun in the sky. Is it going to be resolved? Wang Lin suspected that Bei Yunji was talking in his sleep. Yes. After Bei Yunji finished watering one basin, she switched to another one. Most likely, he was talking in his sleep. Yunji, Why don't you just make a statement and say that you came to the Computing Institute? This way, people won't keep slandering you. If I do, those people will say it too, and they'll even bring you along. Bei Yunj glanced at Wang Lin and chuckled. Let's wait a little longer. Hearing the main character say this, Wang Lin could not do anything no matter how anxious he was. The next day, the notice of delisting from the Institute of Computational Technology in our nation was officially released, causing the outside world to discuss fervently. Hong Chongzhen seemed to have fulfilled his last wish in life. He was happy and smug. Now that Marcus was done for, Wang Lin would also be implicated. After all, Marcus and Wang Lin were so close. Chapter 540. However, in the afternoon, a group of people on the internet had just started to follow the trend and criticize. All of a sudden, something strange began to happen. Farisk Mathematics Award. Congratulations to the following scholars for being nominated for this year's Farisk Mathematics Award. 1. Cesar Frank, Our Nation. 2. Sammy Khan, Our Nation. 3. Tenya Yabuno, J Nation. 4. A Nation. The above rankings are listed in order of nomination. Thank you for your attention throughout the year. The news was only posted on the official website. Initially, no one paid attention to it because there were not many mathematicians in a nation. However, when it spread to the internet, the news started to blow up. This was not because of the nomination of a person from a nation, but because on the same day, the official website released an announcement. 3 of the 8,000 questions had been successfully solved. And this year, 2 of them were solved by the same person. This made everyone in disbelief. They did not know where this god came from to do such a crazy thing. Solving 2 of the 8,000 questions at once. This was something that they would not even dare to dream about before today. However, when everyone saw the signature of the person who solved the 8,000 questions, their bodies froze. On the title of the official website, the signature was in bold. So, the discussion on the internet was in full swing. Everyone was criticizing the new director of our nation's Institute of Computational Technology, Jones. They blamed Jones for going overboard and removing him from the institute. This was the person who solved the 8,000 questions, and he solved more than one question. And he was chased back to a nation? What kind of idiot could do such a thing? Hence, an hour later, under the anger of the public, a large number of online protests began, demanding the replacement of the new director, Jones. Everyone in the upper echelons knew about this matter. 80-90. As for the masses from other countries, many of them were watching the show as well. After all, this was not the first time our nation liked to poach researchers from other countries. Who would have thought that this time, a real god would come, and in the end, he would be personally chased out by his subordinates. This was enough to make our nation's enemies laugh for an entire year. At the same time, there was also a heated discussion on the internet in a nation. The entries about hashtag, the 8,000 questions hashtag, and the nomination for the Farisk Prize hashtag were all firmly at the top of the list. There was even a dark red word next to it. The reversal in the morning and afternoon was also very suffocating. Many people tagged Hong Chongzhen under this post. At Hong Chongzhen, can you explain? Can you answer 1,008 questions? Confused, a plaything of capital? Are you sure? At Hong Chongzhen. Come out and take a beating at Hong Chongzhen. At this moment, Hong Chongzhen, who had received so many private messages, was very puzzled at first. However, when he saw these entries, he understood. His expression changed, and he immediately clicked to read the content. A few minutes later, he unconsciously took a few steps back. His legs were weak, and his entire body was trembling. Impossible? How is this possible? How could there be someone who could solve the question? Why did this person have to be? At this moment, Hong Chongzhen felt that his qi and blood were not flowing smoothly. He blacked out and collapsed. The other students in the same research room were shocked, and they quickly sent him to the hospital. At this moment, discussions were still going on online. They're all humans, so why are they so smart? My scalp is numb. Seriously? How many years has it been since our country had a mathematician? Chapter 541. My computer science professor at Neely University is already cursing in front of the entire class. There's a shortage of people in the computer science field. Jose is forcing people into the field of mathematics. F*C, why do I feel like a demon king is going to appear in the scientific research field? I'm tired of saying this. Now I just want to say, awesome. Sob, sob, sob. Come back quickly. Well, thank you, people of our nation, for sending back. We're very satisfied, doghead. Daddy, bring our country's scientific research forward. However, what was even more unpredictable was about an hour later. There was also a movement on the official website of the K.Z. Busaka Computer Award. K.Z. Busaka Computer Award. Congratulations to the first K.Z. Busaka Award candidate. Thank you for your contribution to the field of computing. At the same time, thank you for your support for the annual Busaka Award. After this message, there was a translation in country A's language, as if they were afraid that they would not understand their intentions. And immediately after, when this news spread to the intranet, it almost paralyzed the headlines. Busaka almost made "Love Me Again" on the public screen this year. Ha ha ha. Busaka is no longer the noble and cold Busaka Award. Do you know that your award ceremony only ended half a month ago? It'll be at least 8 to 9 months before your next candidate list is announced, right? He's anxious, he's anxious, he's anxious. After all, his opponent is Farisk. He's starting to be afraid. F*CK, there are so many strange things this year. When did Busaka become an official announcement for each candidate? Doghead, I'm going crazy. Is this the year of country A in the scientific research world? I'm happy. In the end, Love House. The Busaka Award was held by country R, but the Our Nation R's scientific research and political circles were distinct and had always been in a state of irrelevance. Therefore, they did not want to dislike the Our Nation R's scientific research and computing field because of Jose, who was appointed by the higher-ups. Moreover, the Our Nation R's scientific research community had always hated the involvement of the higher-ups in such matters. Therefore, this time, Jose's public outburst had also hit the Our Nation R's scientific research community. In the scientific research community, no matter how many dirty tricks there were, strength was still the absolute king. At this moment, Jose was stunned. Busaka and Farizik, to be nominated for 2 international awards in 1 year, this was an achievement that most people would never be able to achieve in their lifetime. How is this possible? How is this possible? Jose held his head with both hands, his face contorted in pain. He knew it was all over. If the higher-ups knew about this, they would definitely drag him down. It wasn't just to appease the masses, it was also to appease them. After all, no one would provoke a top researcher. But in the past 3 years, he had prepared so much just to replace Marcus. And the result? In the end, he had only been the new director for less than a month at this moment. Marcus was still playing games. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was yawning and not shaving. He did not believe that Bei Yunj could really bring him back. He just felt that it was good that Bei Yunj had the intention to do so. But in the next moment, Marcus received a phone call. Is it Marcus? The other party's voice was too gentle, making Marcus frown. What? You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.